Welcome back. Let's go ahead and let's add in some of the controls. Now, when I say some of the controls, we're going to have to add in a bunch of these functions, those override functions, touches began. Now remember, these override functions are something that's native to SpriteKit. So let's add in the other ones here. So we'll go override function touches moved. Okay. And sometimes the autocomplete doesn't work the way you want it to, so you might have to add in some code here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to literally copy this 4 touches and paste it in there, because we do need to add that in here. So all it's saying is that as touches began, we'll take the touch location, touches moved, that's like you're dragging your finger, and then touches ended. Okay, so let's add in an override function here, and then we're going to say touches ended. All right, and when you think about this, you have touches began, so when you touch the screen, when you move it around, that's touches moved, and then when you lift off your finger, that's touches ended. And you need all of those items in here in order to make this work. Okay, so let's focus on the touches moved right now. The touches moved, we're going to say if is alive is double equal to true. So we only will want to move the player if is alive is equal to true. We can say player dot position dot x is equal to touch location, okay, dot x. Okay, now one thing they might want you to do is they might want you to add in brackets and an exclamation point there. Yeah, so you might want to do that here. Now the other thing you can do is you can say if is alive is double equal to false, then we'll say player dot position dot x is equal to negative 300. So that kind of moves it off the screen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that and scroll all the way down to our override function. And above that, we're going to say function, we'll call this move player off screen. We'll call move player off screen, and it will constantly check to see if is alive is false. So if is alive is false, we're just going to move the player off screen. In fact, a lot of early mobile games did this. Instead of making and destroying sprites or nodes, what they did is they just moved it off screen. The reason is that it creates a little bit more lag, or it uses up a little bit more memory every time that you add or destroy an object. All right, so if we take a look at that here and run it, we'll see that this we'll see that, yeah, look at that, it does move, right? Okay, and what's interesting about this is that you know it's within this touches here, and this 4 touches should be within the touches moved. Okay, not the touches began. So if we run that now, you'll see that'll work a little bit better. Okay, so there we go. Look at that. That actually looks out pretty good. So we can move it left, we can move it right, and there we go. And you can move it up and down too, but we're only setting the X value. Okay, so what we need to do next is we need to add in the color. So every time we lift up our finger, we're going to change the color. So in order to do that, let's move to our touches ended, and let's call a function called color changing logic, and we'll call, every time we end, we'll call color changing logic. So every time we lift up the finger, we're going to say color selection, and remember, this is the variable that deals with the color selection, is equal to color selection plus 1. So we're going to add 1 to this. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to say if color selection is double equal to 3, or yeah, we can say if color selection is double equal to 3, then we'll make color selection equal to 0. Now I'm going to explain that in just a second here. So it starts at 0, it moves to 1, then it moves to 2. Then once it gets to 3, it's going to go back down to 0. And you have to set it up before like this here, okay? We're going to say color selection is equal to 0, okay? We'll say that player.color is equal to off-white color. Okay, we'll say color selection is equal to 1, and we'll say player dot color is equal to orange color. Okay. Then we're going to go to color selection is equal to 2. And we're going to say player.color is equal to, well, let's say blue color. Okay. So what this is that every time, for example, every time that we have this here, and by the way, you do need the if statement here. If, and if. And so it says if color selection is equal to 0, we'll change the player to off-white color. So let's take a look at that. Let's see how that looks. All right. And take a couple seconds for the simulator to load. So so you can move around, and as soon as you lift it up, it changes here. Now, this all looks good, except for one major problem. See this blue color? It really doesn't look that good. So let's go up to the top, and let's change that right now. So go to that UI color, and we'll say that this is the RGBA value. And the red will be 0.2, the green will be 0.2, and the blue will be 0.6. The alpha will be 1.0. So what that's going to do is that if you want a lighter color, you want to add in 2 of the other values to be the exact same, and the blue to be to be higher here. So the higher the number, the more chance, or the lighter it will get here. So let's take a look at that. Okay, and that looks no good. So let's make this 0.9. Let's run that again. And sometimes you do have to make sure and test things a bit. So say, yeah, that looks pretty good. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change these to 0.4. And that should lighten it up quite a bit. All right, so we want it to be a lighter color. And yeah, that's starting to look pretty good. Now, it does look a bit purple, so you can take out the red, okay, and then maybe add in the green to be 5. And that way it will add in, will make it a little bit better. It'll probably make it more of a teal color. But yeah, that's the blue that we want. Okay, so, and if you want to, you can even make this 1.0 if you wanted to make it even lighter. So let's take a look at that. 1.0. And you can test to see which ones you like and which ones you don't like. Yeah, there we go. I like 0.9 better, but you can do 1.0 here, okay? So there we go. We have some of the controls set up. This includes a tutorial.